Here's more wrestling news for October 20th, 2021. And your headlines for this afternoon include WWE SmackDown not thrilled about trading Becky Lynch for Charlotte Flair, AEW officially announces Daniel Garcia's signing, AEW gets major heat from wrestling fans, current AEW wrestler to debut in a new tag team as Masked Luchador, why United States government tried to deport WWE wrestler, WWE superstar says Tony Khan sounds like a schoolgirl during AEW Rant, Heath Slater tells all about surgeries he went through after Impact Wrestling Bound for Glory injury, T-Bar teases returning back to his old gimmick. They've done this 3 times now. Former WWE writer blasts repetitive booking on Raw. 2 WWE wrestlers' recent work gets huge props internally. Top Dolla responds to Max Caster's Dynamite rap diss, and more. We're kicking off today with the WWE Draft as the results will go into effect this Friday, with several stars jumping between Raw and SmackDown. Both main roster women's champions Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch will be changing brands, as the Queen will be heading to SmackDown and the Man returning to Raw. Flair on SmackDown has been the plan for a while, as she heavily featured during Fox promos prior to the Blue brand's debut on the network, but a lot has changed since October 2019. According to a tenured member of WWE's creative team, the Flair-Lynch swap has been a big discussion point backstage, as Raw is gaining Lynch, who is beloved backstage, while SmackDown aren't thrilled to gain Flair, who's reportedly unpopular behind the scenes. At this time, there's no word on what WWE has planned for the women's titles, but if Lynch retains at Crown Jewel as expected, it's believed that she and Flair will simply switch championships. This will mean both women have an extra title reign to their names, but after years of Fox wanting Charlotte, the Queen of all eras isn't as popular backstage as she once was. AEW next as Daniel Garcia came to the company this year after building a reputation for himself on the indies, and he's now in the all-elite company to stay. On Twitter, Tony Khan announced the signing of Garcia, welcoming him to the AEW team, and time will tell what the future has in store for him now that he's working for AEW full-time. Now, October is International Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and AEW is doing their bit by raising money with special pieces of merchandise, but who they're working with has caused some controversy. It's been confirmed that AEW will be working with the Susan G. Komen Foundation, and after the Twitter account @ShopAEW made this partnership public, the response was universally negative. Many fans posted a screenshot from a CM Punk tweet in which the former world champion blasted WWE's relationship with Susan G. Komen, saying, "If you're going to give money to a company that claims to raise money for finding a cure for cancer, please do some research. Komen is a scam." Founded in 1982, the foundation has been mired in controversy over the past decade, having sued charities for using terms like cure and the iconic pink ribbon for breast cancer awareness. There's also been serious questions about where the donated money goes, as a 2011 IRS report from the foundation revealed that their founder Nancy Goodman Brinker received close to $700,000 in 1 year, a 64% raise. As fans continue to bash AEW for working with the controversial foundation, Punk posted a cryptic tweet that contained a GIF with the caption, "We're working on it." It's impossible to tell if Punk's tweet was in relation to AEW's work with Susan G. Komen, but Punk did disable replies on his tweet, and with AEW deleting their own post about the new line of merchandise, their partnership with Susan G. Komen is off to a very rocky start. In 2011, Cody Rhodes donned a clear Perspex mask as part of his character, and now, a decade later, the former TNT champion could be preparing to cover up once more. According to a report, Rhodes will be teaming with Fuego del Sol, but will compete as a masked luchador at the Dark Elevation taping set to record this Sunday. In the graphics for the match, Fuego is shown next to a wrestler that looks a lot like Rhodes, complete with the Dream chest tattoo just visible under the strap of his gear. Rhodes himself has said he's not involved with this new team named Too Fast Too Fuego, but is looking forward to seeing a new tag team join the fray. This is quite the change for Cody, who's been having an intense feud with Malachi Black and Arn Anderson as of late, and we'll have to see if Fuego joins his side now that the pair are teaming together on AEW Dark Elevation. In 2020, the wrestling world lost Pat Patterson, a legendary, albeit controversial, name in wrestling. The very first Intercontinental Champion, Patterson also invented the Royal Rumble match, but the longtime right-hand man to Vince McMahon was also part of the 1992 Ring Boy scandal, in which he was accused of misconduct with minors and resigned from his role in the company. We now know more about Pat's life as thanks to investigation reporting by David Bixenspan for Mel magazine. We now know that the US federal government had plans to deport Patterson years before he would join WWF. A cache of documents related to the investigation were obtained via a Freedom of Information Act request, and the sad reason why the US wanted him gone. Bixenspan writes, "As it turns out, starting at the end of 1964, the Justice Department's now defunct Immigration and Naturalization Service, or INS, spent years investigating Patterson, with the goal being to find evidence of homosexual activity that could be used to have him deported back to Canada." The report adds that the US had surveillance on Patterson during the Lavender Scare, where gay government employees, or those who were even believed to be gay, were persecuted. An April 14, 1965 memo attached to the report details some of the agency's spying activity, as it reads, "This investigation, based on information received from the Office of Special Investigation, United States, redacted, furnishing information that the subject is a homosexual. Object to locate and interview any persons who may be able to offer information of the subject's possible homosexual activities." The government also intercepted some of Patterson's personal correspondence, as the cache of documents includes mundane things like a letter to promoter Jack Pfeffer in August 1962, which they believed held some proof that Patterson was gay. Patterson's sexuality was the butt of many jokes on WWF TV during the Attitude Era before he publicly came out on WWE Network's Legends House, and despite years of persecution and spying, the US government was never able to deport the future WWE Hall of Famer. Last week, AEW Rampage and SmackDown went head-to-head, and the results were somewhat inconclusive. Ultimately, fans for both shows are saying that they won last Friday's war, but in AEW's case, Tony Khan is also saying that his show won. If you only count the fans aged 18 to 49 who watched the first half hour of Rampage, then AEW did win. But not everyone is on board with only carrying about that small percentage of the viewing audience. On his podcast, Booker T shared his thoughts on the AEW versus WWE war and took aim at the AEW president, saying, "I'm of the sentiment that Tony Khan is doing a lot of talking about nothing. Go out and produce a good show. At the end of the day, we'll know who won if that's what we're looking for, if that's your goalpost, if that's where you're trying to score in. But all of this talk about what you're doing, this and that, back and forth, I swear, man, it sounds like a little schoolgirl saying how pretty she is over the other girls on the schoolyard." Khan hasn't exactly done himself any favors when it comes to seeming petty, as he trash talks WWE any chance he gets, as does his roster. Despite this, Khan was recently named a more lovable billionaire than Vince McMahon, and we'll have to see if he takes Booker's advice on board. After being released from WWE last year, Heath Slater made his way to Impact Wrestling, but suffered some severe injuries at last year's Bound for Glory. Slater only recently returned last month, saving his old tag partner Rhino from a beatdown by Violent by Design, and he's looking to get back in the ring. Speaking to WrestleZone this week, Heath said it's wonderful to be back and revealed that in total, he'd have to have 5 surgeries to undo the damage from last year. Calling it a roller coaster of hell, the former SmackDown Tag Team Champion thanked the people that have supported him, saying he would have lost his mind had they not been there. The one-man band is yet to hold gold in Impact, but could be looking at the World Tag Team titles now that he's back with Rhino, and we can only hope that the former superstar can avoid another injury that keeps him out for close to a year. Back to WWE, and it's always interesting to see a superstar's gimmick change, and now one name on the main roster may be going back to the person they once were. On Twitter, T-Bar shared a picture of a black and gold eye, which many thought was a reference to his time as Dominik Dijakovic, and a tease that he's going back to his old name in Gimmick. After all, NXT was the black and gold brand when Dijakovic was a member of the roster, and his theme under his pre-T-Bar name was known as Feast Your Eyes. After an underwhelming run, Retribution split in March, but T-Bar has continued teaming with Mace since then, and it may just be a matter of time before T-Bar is Dominik Dijakovic once more. If there's one complaint about WWE that stands above all others, it's that the company is too repetitive, and fans grow tired of the same old stories. Even Drew McIntyre took aim at WWE after it was revealed that his match on Raw this week would be a repeat of what fans saw 2 weeks ago, as he teamed with WWE Champion Big E to face the Dirty Dogs once more. This week's Raw saw a Goldberg segment with Bobby Lashley promoting their Crown Jewel match, and on the latest Legion of Raw episode, Vince Russo bashed WWE, noting that this is the 3rd week in a row we've seen this segment. Russo went on to say that repeating the same matches and segments is what's hurting the ratings, and said that for as bad as making David Arquette WCW champion was, it was at least something different. Russo, a fellow former WCW World Champion, has never shied away from making his opinions heard, and if nothing else, at least this Thursday should mark the end of the Goldberg-Lashley feud and the one segment that have plagued WWE Raw for weeks. Over to SmackDown, as last Friday was the go-home show for Crown Jewel and saw the contract signing for the Universal title match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. The signing, which competed with the first 30 minutes of AEW Rampage, saw both men make the match official, with Lesnar saying he looked over the paperwork earlier that day with his advocate, Paul Heyman. This got audible gasps from the crowd, and it wasn't just the audiences who were pleased with what transpired. According to Ringside News, one major topic of discussion backstage has been how great the angle from last Friday was, with a source from Creative calling it awesome. The segment was reportedly so well received that the source added that afterwards, no one was talking about the ratings war with AEW Rampage, a claim that Hurricane Helms has confirmed in a tweet, saying not a single word about the ratings were spoken. Reigns and Lesnar are 2 of WWE's highest-paid superstars, but they earned their money last Friday, and will do the same this Thursday when they compete at Crown Jewel. Another huge match scheduled for tomorrow will see Bill Goldberg face Bobby Lashley, this time under no-holds-barred rules. For Goldberg, this match is about getting payback for his son Gage, who was attacked by Lashley after jumping the barricade at SummerSlam. It's therefore only fitting that Gage Goldberg will be on hand to watch his father live at Crown Jewel, as Lashley told Busted Open Radio, "Man, I'm gonna win. There's no strategies. I have friends, he has his son that's gonna be there. Everybody knows there's a possibility that anything can happen, but ultimately, I'm going to win." Lashley recently realigned with Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin, so they could be a factor in tomorrow's match, but Goldberg will have some backup of his own in this highly anticipated rematch from SummerSlam. And we're ending today with a war of words which started this week between Hit Row's Top Dolla and the Acclaimed's Max Caster, and this feud is far from over. This all started when Dolla was warring with the Young Bucks over sneakers, and the Hit Row superstar created a diss track called Sneak-a-Diss, which sampled music from rapper Young Buck. Caster got involved by dissing Top Dolla during a post-Dynamite rap dissing Dolla's rap game, but the fans are seemingly behind the NXT 2.0 superstar. When the Bump's Evan T. Mack asked fans who they've got in the war between Dolla and Caster, the majority sided with the Hit Row star, who'll be moving to SmackDown later this week. Top Dolla himself responded, saying it depends on one if likes filet mignon or fish fillet, as this war of words shows no sign of slowing down. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.